I found my daughter's diary when she was 16. I should have closed it the moment it fell open. I didn't. Lily had been pulling away for months, more withdrawn, hours locked in her room. My husband kept saying something was wrong, but I told myself it was just a phase. Normal teenage stuff. The first few pages were exactly that. Boys, friend drama, complaints about teachers. Then I found the entries about cutting, how she did it where no one would see, how the pain helped when everything felt too heavy to carry. There were entries about thinking of dying, about wondering if anyone would really miss her. She thought her dad would cry. She wrote that I would probably be relieved. She had written a poem about disappearing, about feeling like a ghost in her own home, about screaming with no sound coming out. I sat on her floor for an hour. Then I found the reason. The year before, my sister had been diagnosed with cancer. I had thrown myself completely into helping her, driving her to chemo, watching her kids, cooking meals. I thought I was managing everything. But through Lily's eyes, I had simply vanished. Entry after entry. I missed her soccer games. I was always exhausted. I never asked about her day anymore, but spent hours on the phone talking about my sister's treatments. And then the birthday entry. I had promised to be home for dinner, but my sister had a bad reaction to treatment, and I stayed at the hospital. I forgot to call. Lily wrote, "Mom has a new daughter now. She doesn't need me anymore." She described sitting at the table, checking her phone every few minutes, waiting. At midnight, she blew out her own candles alone and went to bed. I closed the diary and placed it back exactly where I found it. Then I went to my room and cried until I couldn't breathe. That night, I told my husband I needed to talk. I didn't tell him about the diary, just that I'd realized how much I'd been absent, that something had to change. His eyes went wide like he'd spent months waiting for me to see what he'd already seen. He pulled me in and said quietly, "Thank you." I was afraid we were losing her. The next morning, I pulled Lily out of school and took her to lunch. She was suspicious immediately. When I noticed the marks on her wrist and asked, she pulled her sleeve down fast, said it was the cat. I didn't push. Instead, I told her I missed her, that I was sorry I'd been so consumed by her aunt's illness, that she would always be my priority, not someday, right now. She asked why I was saying all of this, what had changed. I told her that sometimes we don't see what's right in front of us until something wakes us up. She didn't say much, but when I dropped her back at school, she hugged me. For the first time in months, I started keeping my promises after that. I made it to her games. I saved the conversations about my sister for after Lily's bedtime. I set up weekly mother-daughter outings that were sacred, nothing could interrupt them. I found her birthday cake recipe and made it one night just because, told her I wanted a do-over. She looked at me strangely, but she smiled, a real one. Her dad told me one evening that he could hear her laughing again, that she'd started playing her music with the door open instead of locked away with headphones in. 3 months later, I walked past Lily's room and noticed her diary sitting open on the bed. I think she left it that way on purpose. The entry said, "Mom's back. I don't know what changed, but I missed her." I found the old poem about disappearing. She had crossed through every line. On the next page, she'd written a new one, about being seen, about someone fighting for you even when you'd given up fighting for yourself. I never told her I read her diary, but sometimes I think she knows. She's 19 now, in college. Last week, she called just to check on me, and before she hung up, she said, "Thanks for fighting for me back then, Mom." I'm still not sure what she meant by back then, but I know exactly how close I came to missing it. Not to one sudden moment, but to the slow, quiet kind of loss you don't notice until someone is already gone. I almost missed it completely, and that still terrifies me.